Hello everyone and welcome back to twitch.tv/CLX Gaming TV. This is CLX Foundry Live and we are jumping right into our build today. What a great show we've got. Apologies for the delay. We had a couple technical things we wanted to get through. I'm your host DJ BluePDX, of course. Joining me in the studio, it is our lead technical expert Paul Steffens and today's master builder Zack Killingsworth.
Hello
guys. We have so much fun stuff to talk about today, and we've got some really fun thing to build for Michael in Arizona. But first, let's talk about this month's giveaway. You'd think we were building that today, but nope, we already built it. Guess what it is? It's that NV7 kick build that we got in partnership with our wonderful friends over at Beacon. It's a Beacon bundle that includes a mic and the Mix Create. It is a Mix Create combo. It is a black one, and they're so fun. It's got a touch screen and dials. It's a built-in mixer. They're just a wonderful product in general. So that is what's part of this one. Of course, for those of you who might be new to the giveaway process and how we do things here, you will be able to find codes on our social, periodically on our social media. That's YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter at CLX Gaming. In our Discord at discord.gg/CLX Gaming. Right here on our CLX Gaming TV stream, on our Kick stream, and also on my streams. Both platforms. So lots of different opportunities to earn a bunch of different entries, and the more you have, the better your chances are of winning. So welcome to the show, and a huge shout out and thank you to everybody at Beacon for making this happen. So with that said, what are we going to shove in Michael in Arizona's box?
All right, so starting off, we'll start with the case because it's been a while since we've done one of these. So we've got our raw
cases are gorgeous
with our custom gold edition print design. So we'll show off these panels a little bit more once I'm done going over the specs of this system, but really excited to have one of these in the show today. So starting out, we've got an i9-13900KF for our processor. We've got a Phanteks 360 Glacier 1 AIO to cool that. For our motherboard, we've got an MSI Z690 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. We've got a total of 32 gigs of Kingston DDR4 3200. For our memory, we've got a 4 terabyte Western Digital SN850X Black for our M.2 drive. We may have done one of those on the show, maybe not. I don't know. 4 terabyte is huge for that drive, though. Really fast. Really excited to see that in here. Then on top of that, we've got an 8 terabyte Seagate hard disk drive. So yeah, 12 terabytes of storage in this build. We've got an RTX 4090 for our video card, a 1000 watt EVGA G5 modular power supply. 10 case fans going in this, so this thing is going to be a beast when we're done with it.
Nice.
So we'll go ahead and start getting the panels off. We'll kind of show these to the camera as we're pulling them off, just to really show you guys how this looks. It's got the design on every one of these panels.
Yeah, this is, again, what an incredible case. And this case and design comes in many different colors. We've got a multitude of these around the site, which is great. There's so many different options. I love it. Oh wow! So Perspective says I was looking at houses the other day and someone left their CLX PC setup inside. So it was the first time seeing one up close. It looked so cool. That is awesome.
Oh, that is really cool.
That's
sweet. That is awesome.
By the way, for anybody who is watching, if you have any questions about things that you might hear on the stream, terminologies that you're maybe not certain about, please let us know. We love to help answer questions. If you've got questions about your own builds that maybe the guys can give you some clarity on, please feel free to drop those in the chat. I will get to those as quickly as possible. All right.
And so we've got our panels off here. So Zach's taking out the cable management panel on the back of this. And once that's done, there's a few twist ties to go through that come from the factory on there. And then we'll get into the motherboard.
Awesome. All right. So for our motherboard, we're going to be using this. We've used several of these previously. This is the Mag Z690 Tomahawk Wi-Fi. It's a DDR4 motherboard. They also chose the one. We actually have this in the BBJS machines.
Yeah, I think this is third show in the row with this board, so we really like this board. One of the things that I've pointed out before on the previous shows is just having these M.2 slots numbered, I think is really cool. It's very simple for the factory to do that, I feel, so it'd be great to see that as a consistent thing.
Yep. Samantha's talking about the newest behind the raw behind you.
That's the half
No,
or.
That's a Hathor. There. Wait.
That
one
one's
the teal.
Yeah, the two-toner is the Hathor. We've
Oh,
wow.
got a raw
red edition over there.
Hello, Miami.
And a Vice. We got a Vice.
Hello, Miami.
Nice.
And we've
That is
even
awesome. I
got
love
the Sekira season up here too.
Yeah, lots of different colors and options.
hold on.
Oh, here's a green one too.
Here's a green Horus, not quite as big as the XL. This is what I'm building afterward.
We came prepared
That's
today.
awesome.
The only case that we don't have right now is the Scarab.
Oh yeah,
little
yeah,
teal
the little
scarab.
one. Yeah, those ones are cool too. We need to get one of those prepped.
All right, so let's start by taking on a couple features of this. You mentioned that each of the M.2 slots are numbered, which is great. Of course, we're going to be jumping into that. Let's take a look at that I/O shield real quick. It's got some great features. Everything from USB 2 to USB 3, Gen 1, Gen 2. You've got a 2x2 on that USB-C, plus you've got your 2.5 gig Ethernet port, which is great. Wi-Fi 6, obviously, plus all of your sound options. So there you go, connectivity for days.
Yeah, really good aesthetic to this board. Obviously, there's a lot of black going on, but this will look really nice in this case. Allow everything else to really shine.
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
we go. Boom.
All right, and once again for our processor, it is an Intel i9 13900KF processor, and I know we've covered this on previous shows. However, what are the different options and what different letters come after Intel processors?
Yeah, so this has a KF after the model number. So that K is going to stand for overclocking or unlocked, which means we can overclock it. And the F just means it doesn't have onboard video. Obviously, we have a beast of a card here, the 4090 going in, so we don't need onboard video on this processor.
Yep, especially with the beast we're going to be putting in there here in a little bit. All right, first up.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start with the M.2 today. We'll get the M.2 in, and then we'll get to our AIO.
Excellent.
Black.
Now, this is the other 4 terabytes M.2 that the company offers. There's the Kingston Fury, but this is a Western Digital Black. These are incredible. It's got a read and write speed that's just phenomenal. Like 4 terabytes in that little bitty thing. It looks great, though. Nice. All that in such a little size. Welcome, Ugloff, my channel manager. Glad to see you in the show, buddy. Glad to see you here. Zach, what are some really good tips or tricks when you are installing an M.2 to make sure it gets installed correctly, and also make sure that you're not going to melt anything onto it?
You'll want to remove any plastic that is on thermal pads. Thermal pads might be on the heatsink, thanks Paul, or on the motherboard, or on both. So you'll want to for sure remove those. And then when installing, go more at kind of a lower angle than straight up. Because as like you can see, it kind of bounces up and it sits there naturally. So then what we'll do is just slide down, and this just has a nice quick release turn swivel lever on it, so super easy to attach.
And because I know I can't be the only one who has ever thought about trying this, please don't use it as a springboard to try and launch M&Ms into your mouth. It's not designed for that.
Yeah.
Evil DJ just needs a goatee. We did that one year. I grew a goatee, and I looked mean and angry constantly. Like, even though I was smiling, I looked like I was going to kill people. It was weird. All right.
Yes. All right, so we're going to go ahead and start getting our retention kit ready for our AIO here. So you can see Zach's got a whole bunch of hardware that's coming out of there. Most AIOs are going to come with all this hardware, so you're just going to go through it and pick out the ones that fit your socket type.
Now, this is the Phanteks Glacier 1 360 RGB AIO. First of all, let's just go over one real quick. What is an AIO, and how is it different from other cooling methods?
Yeah, so an AIO stands for all-in-one, and that's referring to the liquid cooler that we have here. So what that means is this cooler comes out of the box with coolant in it. You can see me, I'm getting all the plastic off it right now. So all we have to do is install the mounting hardware, which is what Zach's doing right now, and then this will attach and we're good to go. Very easy to install. That's what's great about these AIOs. They provide great cooling. You can liquid cool your system and have it be really easy to install. Now we consider this a closed loop system since we're not opening it up and adding anything to it. There is another way to liquid cool your PC, which is open loop, and that's where you get into the custom designs where we bend the tubes and fill it up here. We've done a couple of those with Hayden on the show, so if you want to see some of those, we definitely have those out on YouTube. So we'll plan on doing a few more of those, but those are a lot more labor intensive. They have great cooling, but the AIOs are really most common just for their ease of installation and how great they can cool your processor.
Yep. I have this exact same one but in white on mine, and it works beautifully.
Yeah, this Phanteks Glacier one is probably the best AIO that we have seen as far as cooling goes for temps. So yeah. Really good design on these Phanteks ones.
Now, I saw Zach scraping something off and putting something on. What is that, Zach, and how do you apply it?
Yes, so this is Arctic Silver 5. This is an upgraded thermal paste, which is an option that we offer. Highly recommend when we get into overclocking to add that on there.
Yeah, that's a great point. If you're going to overclock your system, which is something we do offer here, I would definitely recommend going with the upgraded thermal paste. That'll just allow us to overclock it even further and just get a little bit better numbers for you.
Yes, we love anti-red ring paste. For those of you who don't know what that was, back on the days of the Xbox 360, there was the initial series that came out, and that first couple of runs, they had this thing called the red ring of death. People couldn't figure out what was going on, and Microsoft had to change their production lineup a little bit in order to get it to work. And what was going on is the fact that the that first thermal paste that was used cracked and separated, and so your red ring was meaning you were overheating. And if you didn't have the if you didn't have the opportunity or didn't want to take it in for a repair, you could pull it apart yourself. I did that. I pulled it apart myself. I replaced the thermal paste, put the little cooler thing back on it, and blam, and it worked. And so I do that like 3 times over the years. That 360 is, I still own it.
You necroed your 360 back.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
It was that was my first time ever taking a console apart, which, by the way, voided the daylights out of that warranty, everybody. So don't take your consoles apart, for the love of God. But yes. Hello, Darrow Gaming. Welcome.
And there we go with our memory. I think I saw a question about a knock to a cooler I was wanting to get
That's
to.
what I was just reading.
Okay,
I want to
cool.
try to figure out how to say it.
I didn't want to lose it, yeah.
So is a fan-based CPU cooler like the Noctua D15 comparable cooling thermal-wise to an AIO?
Yeah, so it depends on what AIO you're comparing it to, but those Noctua coolers are great. I would say that D15 would compare to a 120 AIO and maybe getting close to a 240, but I doubt it's as good as a 240. But if you want to go air cooling, Noctua is definitely a good way to go. They make great stuff.
Yeah.
Plus,
I'm not familiar. That's why I'm glad that. Thanks for asking about that.
Yeah.
Is that like one of those box coolers we saw?
Yep.
Got it. Okay. That makes more sense now. The RAM you just saw Zach install is, of course, two 16 gig sticks. That is 32 gigs of DDR4 3200. It's Kingston Fury RGB black RAM.
And I had with a Halo 3 one as well, Captain Kate. That was, I think it looked cool.
I had the Reach one, the dark.
Ooh.
There was the dark one. Yeah.
Alrighty, here's some fans for you.
Perfect.
You want to do the fans now, or? Okay.
So the first way that you want to be able to cool down the radiator, since that's going to be where the pump is pushing all of the liquid in rotation, is we apply fans to the back. But the question is, which direction do we apply those fans? Paul?
Yeah, so the direction that you install your fans on your AIO is important. So you can see the way Zack's got these laid out here. These are going to be pushing air through the radiator. So that's called the push method. If we had them on the other side in the same orientation, that'd be pulling air through, hence the pull method. So you can do either way here. Pushing is always recommended. But if you have to pull through, you can do that. And then also, if you've got the extra fans and extra budget, you can do a push-pull and have fans on both sides of your radiator if you want to go that way.
And that works well, but my goodness, like I can't, again, I have to push my green screen back and have it pinned back because the intake is so strong on that push-pull. It just sucks the fabric up against the back of it.
Yeah.
We got the Lost Drake in here. What's up, Drake? How's it
What's
going?
up?
Welcome, welcome. Assuming you got your PC all set up.
Yeah, how's that going?
I saw the short clip of the, I don't know, I think you had it on the stairs with your dogs.
Yes.
I don't know what the conclusion of that was.
Yeah, that was that was fun. I had to help him get it out of the box, but and then get the side off. But yep, got it all set up. It's gorgeously positioned on his stream. So if you haven't checked it out, it's the Lost Drake here on Twitch and on Kick. Yeah. My dogs pulled the carpet as I was taking it down the stairs. Yeah. Dad's playing a game. No. Yes. All right. Getting these all installed. Now, again, I noticed, and you do this each time, obviously these fan wires come wrapped around. So why is it important to straighten them out and to be careful while doing so?
Yeah, so I'm just being, I'm straightening these out to basically give Zack an easier time doing his cable management. If you just kind of run your fingers kind of tightly across this wire, it'll give it some friction, heat it up, and allow it to be a little bit more malleable. Obviously, you don't want to pull too hard on these because you don't want to mess up a pin or something like that, but that's why I'm doing this.
I believe I spelled his name right. Ultimate Loser actually was our winner from yesterday, which was great. We announced that. We usually announce that always on our first stream back. Yesterday was our first stream over on Kick, so that's where we announced it. And again, congratulations, Ultimate Loser. I'm so excited to win that. So excited for it. So.
And that was the Atmo build?
Yeah,
Sorry.
That was our
Nice.
Atmo build. Oh, you're good. Yeah, I'm still fascinated by all of the Star Citizen implementations that, like, there's so many different aspects to that game, including like GlassPass. So
Yeah,
you basically
that
got
sounds cool.
a touchscreen controller for your ship right in front of you. It makes that definitely is super immersive.
What step is that? That's not augmented reality. That's like.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Not AR, I don't even know. But it's pretty
Samantha's
sick.
got a great question. So, also, how does a push-pull work? Because wouldn't that just be like fighting each other?
Yeah, that's a good question. So with push-pull, it's actually helping each other. Now, you got to be careful on the way you're putting the fans in. So you can see how Zack's got his fans on the radiator, and he's showing you how you need to install them on the back as well. If you had them backwards where they were both exhausting or both pushing towards each other, then yeah, they would be fighting each other. So you want them to be in the same orientation. So basically, imagine like you're pushing a shopping cart, and then someone's on the front end of that pulling it. You know, you're helping each other out. That's what the fans are doing.
Great analogy.
Yeah.
Good to drop.
Cool. Yeah, we're gonna get this motherboard dropped in. I'll lay this case down.
Alrighty. Again, love these cases. This is a variant of the case that I have. So, very happy with it. Now, when you set it down, what are the big key things you're looking to make contact with to ensure that you're going to get this properly inserted?
Yeah, so we are looking for our standoffs here, and that's these little nut-looking things that are in here. We've got 9 of these which match our motherboard. So that's the biggest thing you want to make sure before you put your motherboard in. You've got all your standoffs in the right location, and you don't have any extras. If you got an extra one in there, say we had one in one of these holes, there's no hole in the motherboard, we won't see that when we drop the motherboard, but that will be metal making contact, and it could short out the board and cause, you know, an infinite amount of issues with our system. So definitely want to make sure you have the right standoffs, and then as you'll see Zach put this in, you'll see the holes with the solder joints around them that'll line up with those. They're kind of shiny.
Yep. I used to call them sunflower holes.
Sunflower
Sun
holes. Yeah.
Just because it was like, oh look, it looks like a sun, you know,
It kind of does.
icon.
Let's do the
You just-
graphics sag. Okay, yeah.
Ah, there we go.
The case.
So you mentioned a graphics sag. So let's talk about that. We're gonna address. They're gonna see why in a little bit, but what is the sag device for, and why is it helpful in maintaining the longevity and the livelihood of your build?
Yeah, so if you're running a 4090 in your system like we have here, you can see this card. It is very big, and so what we've I'll show it here real quick. You can see how thick this card is. So when we have this installed in the system like this and stand up, that's a lot of weight to be pulling down. Now there's a couple things they've done to help secure the card into the system. The first thing is you can see this PCIe clip right here is silver, so this has like a metal reinforcement here to help hold that card in place. And then Zach's going to be installing our anti-sag bracket, which is going to be right around here, and that's going to support this side of our graphics card. If we don't have that in and you have a heavy card in, over time your video card can start sagging, which can break this slot on your motherboard here. So obviously we don't want that, so that's why we use one of these anti-sag devices.
Perfect, which is excellent. So Shugo asks, what is the best way to put the thermal paste on the CPU? X style, box, or something else?
So I would either go with just a pea-sized drop right in the middle of it, or a line like Zach did. Once you get into that X or the box style, you're probably using more thermal paste than what you need.
Yeah.
You know, if you like Zach just mentioned, if you have a Threadripper or a really big
XE,
processor, yeah, an
Intel
XE,
XE, or
something that's obviously bigger than most, then you know the X is probably fine. But really, the thing with thermal paste is you just really don't need that much. You got to think those two surfaces of your water pump or your air cooler, whatever you have, mating to your processor, that's going to be really tight, so it's going to spread even the thinnest amount of thermal paste out. So I would just go with a pea-sized drop or a line like Zach did.
If you go back to our archive videos, last Thursday I did a demonstration where I did my basic line like I always do. I screwed the heat dissipator down and then unscrewed it and showed, and the single line spreads all the way out to the edges, and there was just like a couple small spots on the very corners that it hadn't spread to. So it just, there is such thing as excess.
Yeah. And it's, you know, if you get excess thermal paste on, there's just going to ooze out and dirty up your system. Probably not going to cause too much damage, but thermal paste is expensive, and, you know, you don't want to have a dirty system.
In the event that it does cause some issues, or it does kind of leak out the side, perhaps, you know, you just did just a little bit too much, what's the best way to clean that up and get that off the motherboard?
Yeah, it's a good question. So you can just wipe it down with a paper towel or a rag, anything. Thermal paste comes off pretty easy.
Like a Q-tip?
Yeah, a Q-tip might work. You might have to put some pressure on it. Thermal paste doesn't like to come off on like the first swipe, so you kind of rub it back and forth, and once you do that, it'll come off pretty easily.
Nice.
MSI ships out little brushes that have fine bristles and heavy bristles. This is safe for processor like socket work. So if you do like get a little dollop of thermal paste in your socket and holding it like upside down, not blowing on it, because if you blow with your mouth you could get spit, saliva up on there, but like shaking it doesn't come off. Light pressure in the direction of the pins is the best way to move that off. Again, just be very cautious when doing any work around the pins.
Wolf has an interesting question. He says, what's in thermal paste exactly that makes it ideal for PC building?
Yeah, so I don't know the exact chemical breakdown of what's in it, but essentially what it does is provides good heat transfer from your processor to whatever that's touching. And then it also, once it warms up, it becomes a little bit more fluid, which once it's more fluid, it allows for better heat transfer as well. So it's a compound that's pretty stiff when it's not warm, and when it heats up, it gets a little bit more fluid.
According to the Google, thermal paste, also known as thermal grease, is commonly made of silicone-based polymers. Properties such as low viscosity and high thermal conductivity of sodium silicate-based thermal paste make it superior to its silicone-based counterpart.
There you go.
Shugo says, I missed the part about the GPU support. Do you need to buy that additional support to put on the motherboard, or does it come with the GPU card?
That's a good question. So initially it should come with your GPU. Now, not all GPUs have them, and some of the ones that come with it aren't that great. Now, as it's starting to be more common, this Leon Lee O11 does come with a GPU brace as well, and that's the one we're using with this. We're not using the one that comes with the video card. If you don't get one with your video card and you don't get one with your motherboard, you can just Google anti-sag device. There's a million different options out there that are good. The only thing that I would say to look for is just have one that's going to support your video card on the right side if you're looking in, and that's mounted to the frame of your case. That's going to give you... All right, I don't know. Might have had a little internet hiccup there, but we are back. So, getting back to the anti-sag device. Zach, go ahead with where you were at. I think we were talking about motherboard compatibility.
Yes, some motherboards will have, this one has some heat shields on it, but they don't cover up the your mounting spots. So, if you do get an after-party anti-sag bracket, just make sure that that it will work with your motherboard, because some of the high-end motherboards have whole heat shields that don't come off.
Yep, and there's some anti-sag devices too that will actually, they're just kind of like an arm that you can just put in the bottom of your case and raise and lower the part that supports it. That's a great option too, if you don't have anything in the bottom of your case.
There you go. All right, now we're getting all those other elements going into the back. What's our next step?
So we're going to be doing our case fans next. Now Zach is plugging in all of our case cables, so our front panel USB Type-C audio connectors. This case also has 2 hot swap bays with SATA cables coming out, so he's going to be plugging in those as well. So we're working through the case cables, and then once we get those all plugged in, we'll probably get into case fans.
Okay. Now this is going to create, obviously, we're doing a total of, let's see here, we have 9?
10.
No, 10 fans. 10 total fans in this, yes. So we've got the 3 on the top, the 3 on the back, the 3 on the bottom, and then the 1 exhaust.
Mm-hmm. Yep, the 1 on the rear. So there is, with most cases, once we get the motherboard mounted, how we like to build here is that's when we plug in our case cables like I was mentioning before. Now this case with those hot swap bays has a lot more cables to plug in. So you can see Zach's plugging in SATA cables right now to the motherboard. Now obviously we don't have any hard drives in, but what's nice with this case design is that you can just swap in hard drives and don't have to worry about running power data cables since they're already plugged in from the bay. It's probably my favorite thing about this case, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This case is also what we call a 2/3 design, where the motherboard doesn't sit completely on the back. Well, why is this an advantage?
Yeah, so I'm going to rotate this a little bit. I'm just going to rotate it towards the back. Right? So there we go. So this 2/3 design, you can see it pretty well from the back. Our motherboard I/O shield is right here. So our motherboard's sitting right here, 2/3 deep down into the case. And then we've got a whole third of the case back here for some extra stuff. So you can see this hole down here at the bottom. That's where our power supply is going to go. And then these two doors that you see got thumb screws here, we'll get into those in a little bit, but that's our storage base for our 2.5 inch and 3.5 inch drives. So we do have this 8 terabyte 3.5 drive, so you will see us get in there and install that as well. Zach's gonna pull that off and hand me the tray, and I'll install that and show you how easy it is to put this in here. Thank you.
Okay. Now, there's as we're talking about those hot swap bays, how do those work?
So essentially the bay is plugged into your motherboard and power supply. So your bay is basically got the power plugged in to where you just slide in your hard drive and it automatically makes the connection. So pretty neat there. What's really nice about this, when you're initially building your system, it's cool to have, but you're still plugging in your cables. Where this really comes in handy is if you're wanting to install like an extra drive later on down the road, or you've got maybe a drive in your current system that you want to move over to your upgraded PC. That's where it really comes in handy. You can just plug it in and don't have to worry about running any extra cables.
That is excellent. So, like I mentioned, I've got that same case, and I've got some drives I'm going to be attaching to my sleds, a hard drive tray, I guess you call it.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm excited because I don't have to actually hook anything else up. I can just slide it on in and call it a day.
Yeah, it's super nice for that.
Okay. Making sure we're all caught up here. Let's see here. We do have a comment coming in that can't get into the giveaway on Surf. That is... I'm going to deflect that one to Ivory. There we go.
Deflect.
It's called the handoff. Again, I'm always impressed with the connectivity to the actual motherboard itself, because if it's not actual sockets, it's pins. And I have always been terrified of putting things in the wrong pins. What happens if you accidentally connect something to the wrong pins?
So for these case cables that we're doing, this is mostly our front panel. So power button, reset button, HDD light, power light. So with these, if we get them messed up, most likely they're just not going to turn on. Now, we've had it before where maybe you've got it reversed. So like if you have your HDD LEDs reversed, your hard disk drive lights just show when it's when your hard drive is being used, that light will come on when it's not actually being used. So but nothing major when you're plugging this stuff in, you know, it just won't work. If you go to turn your PC on, you press the power button and it doesn't come on, first thing I check is if it's plugged in. Second thing is that power switch header that Zach's plugging in right now.
Gotcha.
If it doesn't turn on immediately, push your reset button. If it turns on then you've accidentally swapped those headers.
Yeah.
That is an excellent point, sir.
Or if you want to make sure that no one turns your computer on but you.
Leave it just like that?
Yep.
That's fantastic. Sebrew says, hey guys, wanted to say thank you guys for streaming on Kick. As a Kick streamer, having you guys on there is a great start. Hopefully others like you will join Kick also. Oh, thank you. It is always fun over there. We've had a great experience our first 2 streams there, so yeah. Why are you giggling?
Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws is not enough.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's what happens when I get distracted. I'm like, oh, I should install the NA seg bracket while they're talking about it. And then I forget that I was installing 7 other screws.
And welcome into the chat. Ultimate Losers here, our winner for the June giveaway, the PC combo with Atmo Esports. Hello, welcome in. Good to see you again. that was announced over on our Kick show yesterday, which was only on Wednesday because of the holiday. We're going to go back to our regularly scheduled times next week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Tuesdays on Kick, Thursdays right here on Twitch. IKEA Snow. Is it IKEA Snow or IKEA's Now? I don't know. IKEA asks, no codes today, I'm assuming? That would be incorrect, sir. Got it. Okay. Getting the rest of these fans on. There is a little vertical door on the back side of it. For those of you wondering what that does, Paul?
Yeah, so you've got this door right here that you can take off with a thumb screw, just kind of like what we did with our hard drive cage. And what this is for is a vertically mounted GPU. So if you want to, show off your system, and instead of having your video card in like this, you want it like this. So when you're looking in, you're seeing the fans. This case does have that option. Now this is kind of close to the front of the case, so a big card like this wouldn't work. You'd need about a 2-slot or maybe a 3-slotter could fit in there for that.
Gotcha. Sounds perfect. One thing to note from this angle are the feet on that PC. It does give it a little bit of a distance there when you've got it sitting wherever you want to place it. What are some best practices for where to place your PC, and why is it important that those practices are followed?
Yeah, so you want to have your PC, if it's sitting on the ground, you want to have it on a hard surface. So pretty much anything other than carpet. So if your PC is in your basement like mine and your basement's carpeted, what I've done is just cut out a rectangle of cardboard, set that down, and then put my PC on top of that. So you can use wood, tile, any hard surface that you've got laying around to do that. And what that does is allows that hard surface to compress the carpet so that you still get this couple-inch gap here for fresh air to come into your system.
Yeah. Great question coming in from Mighty Endeavor is, what's Beacon? So Beacon officially is they're an accessory, and I wouldn't say accessory. They're a peripherals company. They make things specific towards streaming. So they have a microphone as well as their mixer, their own personal mixer, which is great. It's a touch screen with 4 dials on it that allows you to change and alter different elements of your stream when it comes to your sound. They come in black and white, and that is going to be our bundle, because the person who wins this will get a full Beacon Mix Create bundle pack, and that is so it's a black mic and the black Mix Create mixer, which is a lot of fun.
Yes, you could have your Discord on one of the dials and then just quickly adjust your Discord without minimizing your game.
And you can get those directly through us, in fact, with your PC. So there you go. If you'd like to know more, you can head on over to Beacon, BEACN.com. Oh, yes, and also we have it right now on our website. If you take a look at the accessories area, it's actually $200 off. So, great time to grab one. And I'm wondering, can you grab just the Beacon package itself, or do you need to buy a computer with it? You have to buy a computer with it. So, if you're going to get a streaming package, grab that sucker while you can, because it's $200 off with your order. Yeah, I've been kind of excited looking at seeing all the different technologies that have been developed and evolving over the years. You know, when you look at, say, Astro and the original Mixamp Pro compared to what they have now, huge advancements. When it comes to mixers, like we've had the Stream Decks, we've had Go XLRs, now we've got, and AverMedia's got their own version of it, and then you've got the Beacon. So lots of different ways of looking at it. So I'm always impressed with that. All right, we've got our bottom frame right there, which is what's going to end up attaching itself to the floor of the PC. And this is always going to be an intake, correct?
Yes, yeah, and in this case design, this will be our main intake. Now, the optional fans that we've done, we can either do this case in a 7-fan or a 10-fan layout. So this one, we're obviously doing a 10-fan layout, so that's going to give us this hole right here. We're going to have 3 extra fans in this area. So that's going to give us 3 extra intake fans there as well.
Gotcha. Now, as you can see from this view, everyone, you can see about that 2/3 design, how much space there is inside of there. There are several different ways that this helps with the maintaining a cooler temperature inside that case. Paul, how does that work?
Yeah, so essentially, go ahead.
Yeah, you're good.
Rotate this around. So, like I mentioned before, our power supply is going to be down here and our hard drive bays are up here. So this allows these components back here to get fresh air in from this side of the case and exhaust it out the back here. Some of that heat comes in. So I've got our hard drive mounted in our hard drive tray here. So I'm actually going to slide this in. You guys can see how easy this is. So like I said, it's going to plug in these SATA ports on the hard drive right here. You can see it kind of down deep in there. These are just going to automatically plug into that when I slide this in.
Please pay attention to the direction you're sliding.
And we'll hear that nice click, and there we go. There's a little tab here that you just slide over to lock those in place. And then I'll put our door back on. Thank you. And we are good to go. So there's obviously another tray here and 2 more trays here. So a lot of expandability options in this case.
And speaking of the tray that we just inserted, that is an 8 terabyte, 3.5-inch Seagate Barracuda hard disk drive. So that's 8,000 gigs of space on top of the 4,000 gigs that are on the M.2, which is a lot of memory and a lot of opportunity. But it says HDD. What's the difference between an HDD, an SSD, and an M.2?
Yeah, so an HDD, that stands for a hard disk drive. Sometimes we refer to those as mechanical drives. Those are the big drives that have been in the PC world pretty much forever. And how data is stored on that is there's magnetic disks that are stacked on top of each other. They look like kind of mini CDs. And those spin around and an arm reads off those, and that's how your computer reads that data. Now what we've seen, you know, more now is SSDs, which stands for solid state drives. So those can range from the 2.5-inch form factor that just look like the smaller hard disk drive, or an M.2 drive. Both of those are considered SSDs. It's just M.2s mount directly to your motherboard and usually have a lot faster speed than those 2.5-inch drives do. The 2.5-inch drives were really popular there for a minute before M.2s exist, but once M.2s came out, they really kind of took over the SSD market.
And with good reason. I remember when on my old gaming PC, my terabyte hard disk drive just died randomly.
Yeah, the most economical way to get set up is to buy a smaller storage M.2 drive, 500 gig or a terabyte. I wouldn't really go smaller than that for your OS and a couple games that you want to play. And then you can have everything else stored on a mechanical drive. They're just a lot cheaper and more economical.
Yep, and the load times just for Rainbow Six Siege, the difference between a solid state and M.2 were night and day. Completely night and day. What up, Scott Wins? Welcome. Scott and I'll be playing a little Destiny 2 later on today, where I will also be dropping the first code for my stream. It'll be fun. The word games will return, so come in ready to think. Code? One more? Code? Yes.
Should we get a code in here?
Let's get some codes in the chat, people. Go, code!
There it is. Radical knows what's up. Esme knows what's up.
Scarecrow.
Get the code! Kyle, you're not allowed to get codes.
Kyle's like, I'm gonna win this PC.
Right? Yes, I do, Phoenix Rising. I've been loving Destiny 2. The Lost Drake got me back into it, and I just kind of have fallen in love with it. It's been interestingly fun also because I have 3 characters. So, yeah. That way I get to do 3 different ones. I have one of each, honestly. Look at that. We've got our first code. It's up top. It's
That's a good code.
ARS5.
Did we make that, or is that
Ars.
random? That's a good one. Almost as good as the G4Y one.
Right? God, that was funny. Oh, that was so hilarious. Yeah, that's actually a really good one. And periodically, it makes these codes that are just hilarious. Oh my gosh. Okay.
So you can see we've got 9 of our case fans installed. It's a pretty good shot there. You can see three right here, 3 in the top, 3 in the bottom, and then Zach's got the one he's going to mount in the back there. He's getting our controllers ready. So all these fans plug into an RGB controller, which can have 8 fans in each. So since we have 10 fans, we're going to be using 2 RGB controllers, and they can daisy chain together with this cable so that they're all synced up.
Gotcha. Now we are gonna. Gee, Ugloff, behave. BU77. There we go. Now we've got 6 fans bringing fresh air into the case. We've got 4 fans exiting, so that's going to create a positive air pressure in the case. How is that helpful to ensuring coolness in there?
Yeah, so with a positive pressure design, that means we have more air coming in than we do leaving. So really, there's some debate online about positive versus negative pressure. I'm honestly kind of cool with either one. The biggest advantage to me with a positive pressure is that when you have a negative pressure in your system, it's going to allow a lot of dust to get in through the cracks and crevices. So having a positive pressure really makes sure that all the air is getting filtered throughout.
You can look at it as a negative pressure is kind of like having to suck air in, whereas a positive pressure is it's pulling all of that air in naturally. So what negative pressures happens is, like, if there's a little crack in your glass, it's going to try and pull air in from there too.
Yeah, essentially creates a vacuum in your PC.
And everything lands and stays there. But with positive pressure, it's going to help keep that from happening. How about, I have 9 intakes and 4 exhaust.
There you go.
I can't get much more positive pressure than that. All right. The guys had the pleasure of seeing the inside of my very first personally built PC that I got all the parts for, and then built it at home. That's the one that took me like 6 hours, and I had to take the motherboard in and out like 5 times. It was ridiculous. And after having, hosted this show for over a year, it is a mess inside that is embarrassingly funny. So I'm gonna clean it up, possibly retie it, and then give that PC to my mom, because she has a real PC. Yeah, she has a Pentium 2 dual core or something like that.
2 cores.
It's
Whoa,
like it's amazing that this thing is functioning. 4 gigs of RAM and Windows 10.
Nice.
Or 11, one or the other. And I'm just like, what? Onboard graphics? Come on. Oh yeah. No, it's a bit of a mess. Yes. Okay. Getting those all the way up to the back. The rubber grommets really do help with routing the cables. They also help with maintaining, I would say, pockets of where the air is.
Yeah, they hide the cables pretty well, and just, very good at sealing off the area somewhat.
Let's see here. Scott mentioned. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say,
Scott mentioned
easy up there too.
Yeah, the easy is 6 push pull and 3 exhaust, good for a 4090.
Yeah, I think
Good
that's good for a 4090. So the biggest thing that I would say to just running on your orientation of fans, just make sure you've got a decent amount of case fans. Depending on your layout, Most cases are 3 in the front, 1 in the back. That's great too. Just make sure you have some case fans in and you'll be fine.
Scott Wins mentions, I have 3 fans and 1 exhaust, but the overall cooling for everything is really good, so I'm not complaining.
There you
4
go,
fans
yeah.
total, 3 up front and 1 in the back. Gotcha.
Yeah, that's more
good
of
flow.
the traditional design. That's what I like to refer it to as. I've
Front
got
to
an
back.
Evolve X as well. Yep. Your main intake's in the front with your exhaust in the back. So even with my Evolve X, that's a more modern case. It's the same way.
Nice. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like this one, the one in this thermal case that I have that I built, this little box, it just has 1 giant fan in the front,
Oh yeah, yeah.
and then it because it's got that 1 glass side, everything else is all those mesh the mesh covers, the magnetic covers, so it just blows the air straight out the top and the back.
Yeah, there was a period of time there where a lot of case manufacturers were doing that. They're putting like a giant fan in the front. We kind of saw a transition from, back in the day on the really old cases, on your side panel here, you had like a grate with like an 80 millimeter fan, or sometimes it was even a 120, and some case manufacturers put even a bigger one. And the idea of that was to pull the heat that was coming off your processor out of the case. And we kind of saw that go away with the new versions of the case that had the main intake in the front with the exhaust in the rear. And then this is what's really kind of come after that with these more glass design cases where your intake's on the bottom and your exhaust on the top.
I mean, and that, to be fair, that actually makes a lot of sense when you're considering that, hot air rises and you're wanting to get the hot air out. So
yeah, and what's really good with this, obviously for your gaming machine, you're going to have a video card in here. So all this fresh air that's coming in from the bottom is most likely going to hit your video card first, which is what you want in a gaming machine.
So here's a question, just because, for the sheer sake of conversation. So if you've got that up on top and the hot air that's in the case is exiting out, does that have a negative effect on the cooling of the radiator? As opposed to if, say, you put the radiator on the side.
Yeah. Yeah, so your radiator, it's obviously getting the air that's been through the case, so that air is most likely going to be a little bit warmer than the air outside of the case. So, it does affect it a little bit, not having your radiator get the fresh air. However, I still think this is the right orientation for that, having your radiator up top.
If you're chasing numbers, then that's where that can make a difference. Like if you're wanting to rock your graphics a little bit heavier, then having it mounted in one position is a lot better than if you're wanting to do CPU heavier.
Yeah, if you're trying to like break records like Zach said, go ahead. Don't even screw your radiator in. Just let it hang out your side panel and get some fresh air that way.
There we are. I love that little the 3D clip. The 3D clip. The mirror.
Oh yeah, this infinity mirror on the cover. Yeah.
Now, yep. My infinity mirror is lighting on one side, and it looks cool.
Please.
I was gonna say you could put like a mini fridge next to your PC and have your radiator hanging out outside and put it in that mini fridge. That'd be pretty good.
Okay, I want.
There we go. And from this angle, you can definitely see the size of that lower hard drive hot swap bay. And then, of course, the empty space below there, that is where our power supply is going to go. Okay. Now, I noticed that you've got 2 different fan controllers. Why is that, and how does that work?
Yes, so our fan controllers can support up to 8 fans on them and 2 light strips. So we can daisy them together and just continue adding 8 fans into a system, even if we don't do a full 8. And then the way that these guys work is they're linear. So like that's where I have to kind of focus on which fans are getting plugged into which position so that I make sure everything is lined up, so say.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Nice.
I want it to work upside down now.
You want to work upside down now?
From the bottom to the top. It'll lay it down. It'll be a little easier on me.
There we go. Might be a good shot for our cable management too. It's kind of hard to get cable management in the shot, so you can really see this here. Just, that way it's centered. The fan wires are always the fun part.
Yeah. And it's fascinating watching. It's like watching him assemble a puzzle.
Yeah.
Oh, I will say one thing that I have grown to really, really love about the like the NV7s from Phanteks is all the Velcro straps.
Yes.
Yeah, the
On
Velcro
the back.
straps that Phanteks has in their case are very nice. They really can you can create your own bundles with zip ties and then really secure them down to your case with those straps.
Here we are.
Cable management is a lot like making onions.
I'm sorry, making onions?
Yeah, you know, layering.
Oh, got it. Like I've never actually made an onion.
Don't worry. As soon as I said it out loud, I was like, that's okay. Well,
That hits a little different.
we're going to this territory now.
We did get a great question coming in from Zombie Rain. I asked earlier, but on the topic of cooling again, is there a noticeable difference in temperatures between push and pull, push-pull on a radiator?
Yeah, so there is. It'll obviously depend on your CPU, but you know, you can expect probably a 5 to 10 degree difference just by doing that. It's more impressive than I thought it would be. It was kind of surprising, honestly.
Let's see here. Just making sure we're catching up on all the questions. And of course, if you have questions, please let us know. That's what we love to see. Okay, and I'm thinking.
And I saw something earlier from Phoenix. This is for a gentleman named Michael. But if you ordered a gold raw last night, or a royal raw last night, I bet we built it already this morning because when I came into work, we had 3 of those orders for for golds. So it could have come through.
Well, you know what? This gives us a perfect segue to talk about our website and how you can find out how many different colors of different options we have over there. And we're going to take a look to see exactly where you would find Beacon products for your order. At CLXgaming.com, we have tried to make it as seamlessly easy as possible to figure out how to build what you need. You'll notice that you can choose in here from cases and colors, processors, motherboards, and really design it the way that it's to fit your needs. We've got multiple different colors, styles, cases, sizes. If you want something smaller, we have smallers like the Scarabs. All of this is up to you and how you want to choose it, including the finish, including the color schemes. But don't worry, if you're not an expert, you don't have to be concerned about, is it going to work? Did I choose the right things? If you choose 2 things that don't work together, you're going to notice that green button up top change to solve conflicts. Once you click it, then you'll notice it's going to tell you, hey, listen, you either don't have a big enough power supply for the parts that you've chosen, so that you can actually adjust it, make sure you've got enough power to be able to run your system. If you've got like DDR4 and a DDR5 build, or reverse that, it'll tell you exactly what you need to do to fix it and give you the options that will help ensure the compatibility of all your parts. We've also got the Foundry, which allows you to select whether or not you want to overclock the GPU, the CPU, or both. If you want to upgrade your thermal paste, you can. And then, of course, our accessories area, which is fantastic. And this is where you would go and find our clothing there, like this amazing CLX shirt right there. And if you head on over to microphones, you'll see where you've got the Beacon mixers, which is brand new to the site. We're so excited to be partnered up with them for this and to be able to offer their products. I'm jazzed about it. I'm really looking forward to get one. So yeah, there you go. They are, and again, they are on sale right now with the purchase of your device. So for all of your PC needs, all you got to do is head to one place. It's clxgaming.com. There we go. Okay. Let's see here. Luis Reyes says, I would like to learn to build PCs. This looks very entertaining. Honestly, Luis, it is. I love it. It's definitely a blast. I know we had somebody up here mention, Radical Tire says, I saw a build with 30 fans the other day. It was ridiculous. Holy Lord. What was it, a server? How big was that case?
Everything was push-pull.
Yeah, everything was push-pull.
Oh, yeah, right.
That really blows me away.
Wow.
We have fun here.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard I'm winded.
Oh, there it is. We need to
That joke was a
keep the chain
that joke
going.
was a breeze.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
God, once I get going, then I lose it. There are no panels, there are only fans, right?
Yeah,
Imagine that.
The fans.
Want to do a graphics?
Yeah, let's do our graphics card here.
So the graphics card is an RTX 4090. This is a 24 gig graphics card, the most powerful graphics card on the market. And whose card do we have today?
So this time we have a gigabyte.
Nice.
So this is a really solid card. You can see the backplate here. It's a 4090. It's a beast. You all know it. Yeah, I like the backplate here. It's kind of like a rugged design. Yeah, I really like this. I believe this is the WindForce model if you're looking for that. These fans are pretty large, so yeah, really good. I'll hand this thing over to Zack.
Look at that giant monster in there. And now, Zach, do you find it easier to install these once you've got the anti-sag bracket in there while it's lying down, so you're not really having to worry about the sag? It's sitting straight up and down?
Yes, I prefer it right now. As it's sitting there, it's not locked in, and you can see I'm not holding on to it. I feel safe with it sitting right here because all I have to do is just push down on the PCI slot and it'll lock in. Now I also carry around a little clipper so that I can lock in the back side just to make sure. Because with the bigger, heavier cards, such as this gigabyte,
yeah,
I want to for sure make sure that that's locked in place because this doesn't have one of those fancy quick release graphics levers in it.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. Yeah, besides the power connection issues, Radical, I believe those have been mostly just resolved.
Yeah, so what I've seen with those power connector issues is we really didn't run into it a lot here, and I think the main reason is most of our, or every case we have has a lot of room for that cable to bend. These O11s are probably where it gets tightest, depending on the biggest, the size of the card that you have. But as long as you leave room for that bend and you're not cranking it down at the power connector, I haven't seen any issues.
Yeah. Because if you end up separating those solder joints, you are going to have some major problems. Yep, I did that to an HDMI port on my motherboard. Yeah, I accidentally kicked the cord and it just popped the back two right off. That was also when I realized, oh, I need to actually plug it into the graphics card. So helpful. You get better FPS on that one.
Yep.
So I know it's kind of hard to see, but I've got a level on the graphics card right now. And so this is where it's sitting stock. I haven't adjusted the anti-sag bracket, and my bubble is touching the line on the left.
Oh,
so look
wow.
at how much I'm lifting this up to center it.
Oh my gosh.
You see that? It's,
Yeah,
it
that's a
doesn't look like
problem.
much, but that is quite a bit. And if you just let that sit there over time, that's where
Yeah.
it will apply a lot of pressure to that PCI slot.
Oh, this is a very careful process. I love it.
Done and done.
And now, there we go. Now it's even. Nice.
Okay, let's hop
While he's getting
on
that
the
put together,
cables.
Paul, let's talk about what's going to be powering this monstrous beast.
Yeah.
This is going to be a 1,000-watt EVGA Supernova G580 Plus Gold. Now, this is a little different than the power supplies that we've installed the last 2 times. Why is this different, and how is that work?
Yeah, so this one's different. 1, because it's obviously an EVGA, and 2, because it's fully modular. So that means that none of the cables that come with this power supply, you kind of see I've got them laid out here, they don't come pre-soldered in. So what's nice about this is you can just pick out the cables that you need and run them already. Like Zach's already running our power cables for this power supply, and he can route them before we even install this in the system. So you can see all these ports here. This is obviously where your cables will plug into. Now we're not going to use every one of these ports. There's always a whole bunch of these, just if you're maxing out your system. But there will be a lot of extra ports here for if the customer wants to add any more hard drives, changes their video card, needs a different power connector, things like that. So we'll include all the extra cables in the accessory box for this, so that way they've got them. But yeah, we always recommend going with a fully modular power supply. It just gives you a cleaner look, less cables, and just better functionality. It is a part of the build though where you can save some money. So if your budget's tight, this is an area where you could get the same wattage and rating in a non-modular version and save a few bucks without losing any performance.
Got it. Nice. Alrighty. Yeah, the green grill, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know why
cool.
EVGA picked this color, but they did, and it does look nice. It almost looks like a, if you ever played RuneScape, it looks like Adamantite.
God, you're such a nerd.
I know. It's almost Rune. It's up there.
That's hilarious. And this is where it looks the funniest because we've got all these cables laying out of it.
Yeah, we could just plug this power supply into power right now, plug these cables in, and turn the system on, but I don't think we want to do that.
Nah. Doesn't look nearly as pretty like that.
Yeah. Be a spaghetti build. Was that enough SATAs? I thought it was.
Yes.
6 SATAs, cool.
Yes.
I knew there might be 1 or 2 extra. But
3 for the case and 2 for the fans.
yeah, okay.
And again, one of the features of having that 2/3 design with the power supply on the bottom is the power supply has its own separate area. It pulls its own air in, exhausts its own air without issue. It's not pushing it into the case or pulling it from the case. So I would imagine that probably keeps it a little cooler than, say, ones that are in the case pulling their air from inside the case.
Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, you can see the fan on it. The fan, here actually, yeah, you see Zach put it in. That fan is on the outside, so that fan is bringing air in, and all those mesh holes that you see there on the back of the power supply, that's where the air is going to come out. So, yep, none of it going into the main body of the case, which is really nice.
Yeah. There you go. And it's EVGA, so.
Yep. Yeah, can't
I
complain about these EVGA power supplies. They're amazing.
Yeah. Everything I have ever had from EVGA has been spectacular. Like, 0 issues. Hashtag would recommend. Not a paid endorsement. I need a disclaimer. Boop.
Calm down.
Let's get a pre-recorded one. You can press
Calm
the
down,
button.
Ricky Bobby.
Right? Here we go. There you go. Okay. Now it's a matter of getting all of our cables plugged into our power supply. Got to check out Beacon. Yeah, they're nice, aren't they? You wish EVGA would have released their 40 series? Radical, honestly, so do I. So do I.
Yeah, as soon as they stopped, I started really hoarding all of my EVGA stuff at my desk.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Doo-doo-doo-doo. There we go. Get them all in there. Yeah, I've been very interested. Wait, what? You know, I've been here. Still throws me off when DJ goes full radio announcer. It is kind of fun. So whenever you hear those disclaimers on the radio that are read at what sounds like breakneck speed, the way that we record those is not speeding it up, because we can't manipulate it like that. So what we do is we say the words real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like that. And then you go back into this to the and you say it, the words have to be that fast when you say them, that specific. So, and then you take all the gaps between the sound waves out. So it's just all the way down the list. It was, I was saddened to learn that that's how we do that, because it meant there was a lot of editing involved. Yeah. I was like, oh my gosh. You're spending 30 minutes on something that literally will play for 6 seconds. Sometimes longer.
Look,
The other thing that I always thought was weird is the what? Oh, all of them just go. Yeah, just sucks back in. Yeah, when all of those things were sticking out, it reminded me of the Matrix PC we saw at DreamHack. Still one of the coolest machines I have ever seen. It was a brilliant design. And when he explained how he did it, I just amazed.
Yeah, that thing was really cool.
My only concern is that it's missing a whole side. So does that create more of an... Well, that's true. Is there any particular downside to not having a side panel? I mean, aside from...
The cases are engineered a specific way for airflow. So yeah, taking your side panel off does affect that greatly. So the case fan direction and all that going on really, take the side panel off, kind of all that goes out the window. That being said, as long as you're not, outside in the summer, it's your PC's still gonna cool fine with that open.
Yeah.
There. You stay there.
Here we go. Let's see. This here? There we go. Alrighty. We are almost done, people. This is going to be great.
I don't
Hey.
want you under there. I want you right there.
Let's is it misbehaving?
I'm blinded by the light.
Gotcha. One thing I do love about EVGA's cabling is that it's got that braiding on top of it. it does give it a clean look.
Yeah, it does. I do like that as well. Keeps all the cables together, gives a little bit of protection for them.
Getting those final touches on there. It's interesting, you mentioned how the frame is always where the air is coming out on the fans.
Mm-hmm.
And the blades are, it's interesting because other fans, like house fans, are different.
Oh, are they? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's exactly the opposite. I was wondering if that affects how house fans work. Because I guess it's the difference here is the focus is pulling the air in as opposed to pushing air out, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably just all about the direction that you want the air going. So in a house fan, you know, you've got your like a ceiling fan, you've got it all. You want your air pushing down most of the time.
Because you can adjust those for summer or winter time.
Switch.
Yeah. What did I do?
Welcome to CLX Radio. We play the hardest rock around. Rock so hard your eardrums will bleed. Now playing Radioactive by Imagine Dragons. I remember when we recorded all of our stuff for KMHD2, and that was one of those things we had to do. You're listening 98.1 FM, KMHD2, a music revolution.
Like, dang, a revolution every day? Sounds kind of exhausting.
Well, that's what the Earth does. It revolves around it. So.
Oh, DJ.
And edit sounds into it. Ivory, do it. Do you want me to do it one more time? It'll be so fun. I wonder if we got the clip.
That'll be our new show intro right there.
Right. Right. Sunday is not our stream because we're on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Hey man, I could go for a good monster truck show right now.
Get that. Fitting the things into the spots and the spaces. Final tie-ups are here. I was interested to see how far down you go in the bundle with your tie-up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Ivory, nice. Yeah, exactly, Temperance. Unless Tuesday is a federal holiday, then it's a whole different story. Okay. We are so close to finishing Michael in Arizona's PC.
Oop.
Yep, that's, Radical. Like, those are from the 80s. I got most of my cadence and I would say styling for what I do for what I've done in radio from basketball and the commercials. You know, when you talk about cadence, Paul Harvey, he passed away a little while ago, but Paul Harvey was, if you've never heard any of Paul Harvey's, the rest of the stories, they are incredible. You know, when I think about sports, which is exactly how I shoutcast esports, it was Bill Schonley who was the lead shoutcaster for the Portland Trailblazers forever and ever and ever. He did all of our games here. Yes. So, and the other one is Casey Kasem. Still one of the most prolific voices in radio history.
When I was living in Springfield, I would listen to our NPR show would play his old stuff. All of his Sundays. I think while I was there, they were in the 70s. I was like, dude, this is amazing.
I'm Casey Kasem, and this is your week's Fake Talk 40. He was great. But then you shape those, you kind of shape those sounds and create a profile, and things stick, and then all of a sudden you're just kind of, you found your sound. So, look at that. Jeez, this is so gorgeous. I love these.
These look really good.
I also love the honeycombing across the strip.
Yeah.
Across
that's
that
really cool
the
design.
front panel strip. Yeah. I only just today discovered the little controller buttons for my light strip on the front
Oh yeah.
that you
yeah.
can't see here because of the angle, but and I can just change to go with motherboard or with a color, which is great. Here we go.
Click clack.
Alrighty, you missed the movie boys trailers. In a world brought to you by the dangers of PC AI. Will they make it out alive? Coming out June of 2029. Yeah. What's that movie where you can't escape death? Final
Scream.
Destination.
Final Destination. Yeah.
Final Destination, there it is.
Final Fantasy.
Final Destination 19. 2029.
The reason you
Okay.
don't drive behind semi trucks ever again.
Yes.
Are we ready to see how this turns on?
Yeah.
Let's go.
Did I get it?
Hype.
Hello.
I clicked.
Alright, good to
I
go?
triggered. Yeah. You gonna go for
Let's
it?
do it.
Yeah.
Oh. We got a
Hello.
clicking power
It
supply.
flashed.
We're just having a major power issue in this room.
So it's going to cycle through some stuff, as you can see. We might have to go give this one a BIOS update to get this thing going.
Uh-oh.
What's that plugged into?
But that's also part of what happens during that final inspection of what happens when these PCs are done being built.
Yeah, so we'll get this one over into testing here at the end of the show while Zach starts his second build. And yeah, we'll get into the BIOS. We'll make sure the BIOS is set correctly. We're probably going to have to do an update on this one. Sometimes a BIOS update will cause that to where it'll kick on, but then you won't get any video out of the system. And so that's when we've got to get into that. But we also will check that the RAM speed set correctly. All of our storage devices are showing up.
I'm turning it around for a reason. Paul,
There you go.
what is on the I/O shield that will make the BIOS
The
flashing
buttons? Yeah,
easy?
that's a good question, Zach. So right here you
Excellent
can see
point.
we've got our, it's kind of a highlighted USB port right there, that black one there in the middle, and that's what we'll plug in our USB drive with our updated BIOS on to get this thing going.
It
So, yeah.
happens.
Yep.
Technology, when new
normal
stuff
thing.
comes out, yeah, it usually has
Yep.
to have updates. So,
Yep. Awesome. Well, we'll let you guys get on with that. As you know, for viewers who've been here before, this show happens in 2 parts. So we're going to take a quick break in just a moment, and then you're going to come back, and we're going to have an afternoon with Building with Zach. He's got some really cool devices to put together today, and we're excited because there's going to be some different colors of devices. And yeah, so you're going to see some varying different designs, which is great. That being said, this show happens every Tuesday on Kick and Thursday here on Mixer.
There.
This show happens every Tuesday on Kick and Thursdays here on Twitch at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 Eastern.
Mixer.
I just can't believe I did that. As for the giveaway, all you have to do is type exclamation kick.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. Give kick. Give kick. There we go. I know DJ.exe stopped working. I don't know what happened there. So we're going to be doing those. You can find codes on our social media. You can also catch up with all the latest and greatest of what's happening with CLX Gaming by following CLX Gaming on YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. And on YouTube, you can even catch up on previous episodes. If you'd like to join our community with like-minded PC enthusiasts, and who knows, you may find another code somewhere in there, head on over to discord.gg/CLX Gaming. Our Kick channel is kick.com/CLX Gaming, and of course right here it's twitch.tv/CLX Gaming TV. So with that being said, oh yeah, I'm gonna have my first code drop today on my stream, which will be here in just a little bit, and we're excited to do that one, so you'll want to stick around for that. But right now, let's go and take our quick break. On behalf of Jason and Kyle in production, Paul and Zach, I'm DJ BluePDX. Don't go away. We've got more coming up after the break. We'll be right back.
Bye.
Bye.